Aw. Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited, honestly, for this. I really can't wait to dive into whatever we're going to be talking about.
Let, let me tell you this. When my sister said he's seen Ludacris, I said, which Ludacris? How is he walking outside?
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. And it's funny because like at that event where Ludacris was performing,
Yes.
I would see people looking at me like, Ludacris, is that Ludacris?
Yes. So it's it's like you are his doppelganger.
You know, actually, I was hoping I would meet him so
Hmm.
I can talk to him. We could say like, can we do some genetic research to see if there is some sort of relation? Because
There
you know,
might be.
yeah, you know that there is a resemblance when you yourself admit that there's a resemblance.
Yes.
Like, I was looking at his photo on the badge that we had to get into the event, and I kept going like, is that me? Is that me? Who took my photo and put Ludacris's name on it? Like,
Yeah, yeah. So my sister made me aware. So when we were coming to set, it's like you need to sit in front. You need to listen to this guy. Make sure you get his contact. Make sure you get him on your podcast. It's like, okay, sister.
sister's
And
awesome.
today we are here. I
Here we are.
appreciate you, Stephen. Thank you
I
for this
appreciate you too.
opportunity.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes. So I've been following you on almost all your social media platforms, and the wisdom you spit out is
Uh,
beautiful. The Your music, the images, I look at it and it's like, wow. This is some talent that really, really we need to pay attention to, because it's like the best hidden talent here that has not blown out of proportion. So I'm your number one fan. There may be
ah,
number ones, but now I'm too African. I don't care about them. I'm in
that's
front.
right. That's right. You own it.
I own it.
You own it. That means everything. Thank you so much. So much.
You
Yeah.
you are most welcome. So let's get to your beginning story, Stephen Voice.
Yeah.
Tell
So
us a little bit. Yes.
how I got started in music and then all that. Sure. I mean, I'll get into it. So, I mean, I was born in Nigeria. I'm an Igbo boy, Igbo right here. Born in born in Nigeria. Growing up, my mom loved Michael Jackson, and anyone that listens to my music can hear Michael Jackson's influence. And my
Mm-hmm.
mom loved Michael Jackson. So growing up, I loved how much she loved Michael to the
Mm.
point that I started to, dive into his music and watch his concerts on TV. And I became like so enthralled by the way he could just make people feel these really powerful emotions just by singing. Just by
Yes.
singing, people would faint, people would cry, and I wanted to be like Michael. But more importantly, I wanted to be like Michael because I knew my mom. I knew how much my mom loved Michael. So that alone
Mhm.
was enough for me to want to be like Michael. So as I grew up, I would sing like Michael. I would copy Michael. But honestly, I was born with the gift to sing, and I'm very grateful for that. But I didn't really take it seriously. It's when my mom passed away in 2010. It's the first time I turned to my music as a way for more than just something I could do. It was a way for me to save myself because my mom was my hero. She meant the world to me. She inspired me in everything I did, and suddenly she was gone, and I was lost, and I needed a way to
Mhm.
release that pain inside me. And then so I turned to music, and music helped me release all of the frustration, all the sadness, all the anger I was feeling, the darkness. I was in a very dark place at that point in my life, and I, put that music on SoundCloud and platforms like that. And I remember people reaching out to me going, your music helped me get through what I was going through. Like they
Oh,
would tell me that
wow.
my music was helping them cure themselves or help them find themselves because it made them realize that they weren't alone in this world. And I think that's the first time that I realized that music had this power to connect us,
Mhm.
to bring us all together. And so suddenly music was more than just something I could do. It was really a calling. It was a way for me to not just heal myself, but heal others. And so ever since then, music transformed into this thing that I knew I was born to do. And I think that's it. That's my mom in every single way possible steered the direction, and is the reason that I am the person I am today.
You're talking about this, and I have a young man, I have a teenage son,
Yeah,
and I'm thinking the impact we as parents, as mothers, have on our children. Sometimes we don't think about that, but
yeah,
hearing you speak about that, it's kind of put a little caution on me to be very mindful of, the seeds that we sow in our children and how they germinate with
yeah,
them and into them. And during this transitional period that you're talking about, when your mom is no longer there, how do
yeah,
you connect
yeah.
with her? But then also, how do you stay above the waters, keep your head above the waters, and not sink into depression or loss or whatnot? You were asking how we're tying it all up. This is mental health.
This is it. This is it. This is it. There it is. Well done. When no, what you're saying about about you have a son, and I mean you're pursuing your passion right now. You're doing it right now, and I think those things is like, as kids watching your parents, when you see them passionate about something, it fuels a fire inside you. So
Mhm.
you're already doing everything that you need to do. I just wanted to say that. So I don't even know you as a parent, but I already know that you're doing everything that you need to do. So kudos to you right now.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful. So now we know how you got into the music. But before getting into the music, you were doing something else.
Yeah, yeah. So before the well, it's funny because music has always been a part of my life. It's always, I just feel like when people ask me, I love that when people ask me what my music origin story is, I never quite know where to start, because it's been a
Mhm.
whole, it's
It's
been a
always
part of my,
been there.
it's always been there, some way, shape, or form, either professionally or just something I could do. But I'm Nigerian, I'm Niger. So as a Nigerian, growing up, there were only three professions. There were only three professions that we were allowed to do. Only three: doctor, lawyer, or engineer.
Engineer.
And
Now,
I think any American knows that these are the three pillars that we must fulfill. You must. And so I grew up in a house. My dad, actually, my dad was, he studied electrical engineering. He went into
mhm.
petroleum. My mom was a microbiologist. Um,
Oh.
yeah, yeah. So and I've always had this aptitude for the sciences and math. I love math. Look, I'm the kind of person that will do calculus for fun.
Oh
I'm that
no,
person.
Stephen. Let me tell you this. My first or second year in university, I decided to go take this actuarial science.
Mhm.
I don't know what got into my head to think about that. I sat in the class once, I got out.
You're like, nope, this ain't for
No,
me. This is not the one.
statistics wasn't for me. Wasn't for me. I don't know. I just passed it and got into nursing. That's it.
Yeah, I get it.
So
I
to
get it
do calculus for fun,
for fun. Yeah, it's funny
salute.
because there's a so in university, and I forget the name of the calculus book, but there is one specific calculus book that I was doing, and I realized that in the problem that they had in the solution, there was an error. And I was ready to write them and be like, by the way, there's an error. And I just felt like, nah, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go. But I was that kind of person where I would sit down and be like, I'll pull out my calculus book and just do calculus and things like that, because I love math, I love science, I love physics, I love biology, I love chemistry. I think for me it's because I'm obsessed with the universe and how the universe is, and where are we and how
Yep.
are we, and all
Yes.
these, because there's these forever questions that can never truly be answered. And is that quest to discover the undiscoverable that I feel drives me. And I know it's an insatiable thing, because you'll never get satiated, because you'll always have, you might get one question answered, but there's always the one above it. And I think for me anyway, music and science, all of that, they're all the same thing. I mean, music is math at the end
Hmm.
of the day. And I think I'm lucky that I have the aptitude for creativity and the
Yes.
sciences, because I get to put them together and see it all intertwine, and see the way that they bridge. But no, I studied electrical engineering, at McGill University in Montreal. And I graduated from that, you know, and I was very happy I did. Made my dad, made my mom proud.
Yes.
But I always knew that I was going to pursue that and pursue music. Like I didn't
Music.
think that I was not going to sacrifice one for the other,
Mm.
because I've never liked, you know, that saying people say jack of all trades, master of none.
Yes.
I don't believe in that. I think you can do it all and master it all,
Hmm.
and that's always just been my forte. So I studied engineering, and I got into tech. So I do tech and music all at once.
so so we met at a Blacks in Technology conference. You
Hmm.
were with SAP, and
Yep.
I tell you that is one in I've been in this place for almost a quarter of a century, and that was the first time I was in the presence of people who looked like
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
who had the mindset of achievement, because I can be a little bit there. Yeah.
Yeah. I get
But
it.
because I am a storyteller, I love stories. Similar to you, how did we come about the universe? So if religion is saying this, what is science saying? It's
Yeah.
like, what is the frequency? What is quantum physics? What is,
Yeah.
but I'm not in depth like where you are, but I, on an entertainment level, I can listen to a podcast or a book or whatnot talking about all these things and
Yeah.
pulling from it, even our sense of spirituality, prayers being answered, etc., etc. The science and the spirituality being pulled together. So I
Yeah.
fully understand that. Um, so I think I digressed.
Well, you make a good point, because I always, because people love this. It's people say things like it's either you're a scientist or you're religious or you're spiritual. That like you can't have them both. I think they're both saying the same thing in different ways, and
There.
it's like once you start to pay attention, you go like, oh my gosh, like, because for me, science science can explain science can explain how things are doing what they're doing, but it
Yeah.
can't explain why things are doing what they're
What they're
doing.
doing.
We know how physics works, we know how all that works, but what put physics in place? Why is there physics? Because
Yes.
if everything was just random, then why are there laws that govern things? So what put
Yes.
these things that govern things in
Yes.
place? And that, for me, is that these are the questions that we should be asking ourselves: is if if we exist in a universe that obeys principles, where did these principles come from,
Come from.
and why
Yes.
are they? Because they don't
Yes.
have to be. They could be anything. So
Yeah.
why are there patterns in the
Yes.
universe? Why?
Yes.
And I find that
Yes.
just so fascinating. And that's why for me, science, and I'm spiritual and scientific. So for me, they both kind of keep trying to answer each other's questions, and it's just like, oh, but which one is which? And it's just a beautiful thing. I love it.
But sometimes what I find is that spirituality, because as human beings, I think we have a sense of there is something bigger, greater, um, keeping us in line. If we say Newton's third law of motion, how do you call it? My little fixes is coming out.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. If an
you
object is
know,
in motion, an object in motion stays in motion. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, yeah,
e-
yeah,
exactly. And then we have karma. We talk about karma. It's following the same principles.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
following the same principles. So you have this in physics, you have karma in spirituality, following the same principles. So, which means for me, what I do believe is that physics is catching up to what spirituality already knew,
yeah, yeah,
already knows. It's not giving us, an explanation to it. And that's the beauty, that's the beauty of it.
yeah.
Okay, so technology and music.
Here
Listen,
we go.
I meant to say that. Listen, I am in awe of you. I am proud of you. I'm not saying this for your head to swell and become big, eh? No.
A little bit though. It's getting a little bigger.
And the reason massive respect is pulling all these things together. That makes it, for lack of a better word, beautiful, sexy. It's like, that is it. And I hope that whoever that watches this interview, or podcast, wherever that they watch, has the opportunity to understand that, because you are a nurse, because you are a chemical engineer, electronic engineer, whatever it is, you are not stuck in one box. Most
Yeah.
especially for those of us coming from, the continent of
Hmm.
Africa, because when I speak to people and I tell them my background is nursing and you're doing this, yes, and I'm doing this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Is it difficult? Yes, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Have I
Yeah.
been stood up? Yes, I've been stood up. But
I
it
mean, you work
doesn't mean
late.
I stop.
Yeah, you have sleepless nights sometimes, and it's a lot, but like you're passionate, so you're gonna do it. If you have a passion for something, you will do it. Even if there could be a hurricane, and you'll still find a way to do the thing you love because it's like your air. It's like if you don't do it, you're not breathing, you're not living. So, I get it 100%.
So that leads me to the next question, which is that you pulling everything together, and for you have a partner. I'm not
Yeah.
putting your business out, but I'm putting your business out. You have but some of the challenges that some people have is that they pursue their passions, their
Hmm.
partners are not in support of that. What is, in your view, what is an advice that you could give, or a conversation you can have on that?
I think I think it's you don't have to understand something that someone does, but you can recognize their love and passion for it. And I think
Hmm.
that's where me and my partner, her name is Aura Marzo. She's also
Hmm.
a creative. She paints. She also studied graphic design. She does
Hmm.
photography, and she's actually a really important part of my own creative journey because my cover arts, my photography for my music, the videos, she does all of that, and she does it.
Whoa.
Yeah, she does all of that. It's like I whenever I have a new song coming out, I go through and I go like, hey, this is the song I'm working on right now, and I need to release it. Could you help me create the cover art? And she said, absolutely, and she does, and it's always because she knows how much I love it. She
Hmm.
supports it, and it goes both ways. I support everything she does because she loves it so much, and I think that's what it is. If you love someone,
Hmm.
then you want to be a part of whatever they do, even if you don't understand it. And then so I think if you feel like maybe your partner is not supportive, I think you should also ask yourself, are you being supportive of your partner? Like it
Hmm.
goes both ways, and I think I'm lucky that I met someone that gives me the freedom to be everything that I am, doesn't ask me
Hmm.
to make myself small.
Hmm.
And I think as when you're with someone, I think sometimes we forget that life is about like we should play. Like you should have fun with your partner, like play. We play video games
Hmm.
together, we film funny skits together, like we're still like little kids enjoying the
Gets
things
at
that we
heart.
do.
Yeah.
So like don't forget to be kids at heart, because I think sometimes as adults we're so fixated on what we have to do that we forget to
Hmm.
actually be in the moment and exist. So if you
Hmm.
feel your partner is not supportive, like I said, ask yourself if you're supporting your partner, and speak to your partner. Like talk to them, tell them that this is something that's important to you, and ask them if that's important, like if your passion is important to them. And if it's not, then I think you have a bigger question to ask yourself: is do you want to be with someone that doesn't care about the things you care about? It's like, do you truly want to be with someone that doesn't care enough that you care about something? Because
Yeah.
for me, it doesn't matter. If I love talking to people that are passionate about something, like you sit down with them and they start talking to you about how much they love the way shoelaces are made. I know nothing about the way shoelaces are made, but if someone tells me how much
Hmm.
they love shoelace fabrication, and they're so passionate about it, hey, I will sit down and I'm like, let's talk about this because I'm fascinated by how much you're fascinated.
You know,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, 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 yes. Oh, wow, wow. Let, I knew we were going to have an amazing conversation. Right now, my brains are going a little bit. It's like, whoo. What you're saying is really true, but it's unfortunate that many of the women who are passionate about their profession and other stuff hit brick walls with their